Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Batman Secret Files, issue 3. This was a really good book, and I wasn't even going to get this book. That's why I'm doing this, 5 days later, 4 days later. New books already came out on Tuesday for DC, and here it is Saturday. I'm like, I guess I better get this book. Why? Because I come to find out while doing research for my podcast that's supposed to air later tomorrow morning that, oh crap. Oh, by the way, that's the Comic Book University podcast. Anywhere that you can download your podcasts, it's available for free there, by all means. That's the only time I ever really talk about comic book news. And I was looking up stuff on Batman War, the Joker War, and it turns out the Joker War, there's a prelude story in this book. So I'm like, crap, I got another book to read? Oh, well, it's just a short story. Maybe I'll just read the short story. But I started flipping through because I didn't know which one was going to be which. I figured it should have been the one in the back. It wasn't the one in the back, whatever. But there's a whole bunch of short stories in here. And I just started, reading through them. And I'm glad I did. I'm genuinely glad that I did. Because the very first story is by Vita Iola. Now, what's so amazing is that I didn't know this story is by Vita Iola. I want you to listen. I've talked about this a lot. Vita is one of those writers for comic books that they kill it. Every single time they kill it. Here's the comparison I'm going to make. You know Richard Bachman? He's not a real person. All right? Richard Bachman is actually Stephen King. Stephen King is like one of the best, most prolific writers in America. And this dude, one time he decided, you know what? I don't know if I'm just selling books because of my name or because people actually like my story. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself a pen name, Richard Bachman, and I'm going to write a bunch of stories. Out of these stories, I believe came The Mist, or was it The Fog? Whatever. One of those two. Whatever. It was the good one. It was the really good one. Also, The Running Man came out of that. Not The Green Mile, but there was a bunch of really good stories that came out of the Richard Bachman books, which is, just a collection of short stories. And they were amazing. And that's when he realized, no, I do still have it. And that's refreshing. So what's the closest that we're going to get to that in comic books for the most part? Because I don't think anybody really uses pen names to disguise their real names or their pen names. And Chip Zdarsky's real name isn't Chip Zdarsky. But, he's not using pen names to disguise his pen names. Or maybe he is, and I just didn't know it. But anyway, so Vita goes and puts their information, the titles, the credits for their story at the end of the particular short story. Oh, wow. So I read through this whole thing not realizing it's Vita, because, of course, if I were Vita Iola, I'm definitely going to read this. And instead I'm reading this, this was really good. Wow. Oh, it's Vita. Of course it is. That was good. I don't need to say anything else about it, except this features Cheshire, one of the characters that, what's his face? James Tynion IV, another absurdly amazing writer, wrote or co-created it. I think it was with Tony S. Daniel. He co-created a lot of these characters, Cheshire, and then later on in this story, another one. The next story here, Mr. Teeth is also in here, and American Flag, I think, is the other guy. I'm going to get to those. Next up is the story Hunters, featuring Merlin, also Green Arrow. This was a really good story. This one was by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Vicor Ibanez on art. Sorry, on art over here, Andy Tang did the Don't Hold Your Breath with Vita. Fantastic stuff, man. Alejandro Sanchez and Rob Lay, colors and letters, respectively. So on this one, Hunters, it's hard to see this one. It's really small. Jordi Belair on colors. Oh, Jordi's always amazing on colors. And on letters, Troy Bateri. Oh, okay, nice. A Larger World, Troy Bateri. I don't think he does it through A Larger World through here, but I think that's also his company, so that's really weird. Anyway, really, really, really good story there, where you have what's his name? Merlin, the Black Arrow, going after Batman, and he sets everything up perfectly, and Green Arrow is trying to tell him, and Batman almost dies because he didn't listen to Green Arrow because he was too busy making fun of him for having boxing glove arrows and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Green Arrow's making fun of him, saying, "Why do you wear that cape anyway?" And all of it was it was really good. Both heroes actually got treated as proper heroes. what's his name? Merlin actually got treated like a proper villain. He didn't just get punked out. All of it. Really good story. I genuinely dug on this story. You know, boom, this was really good. After this is Mariko Tamaki on writing, doing the Mr. Teeth story called Muted. Riley Rosmo on art. Ivan Placencia on colors. And Tom Napolitano on letters. I didn't like this story. It wasn't really even much of a story. Apparently, Batman's never met Mr. Teeth. There's some character, Mr. Teeth shows up behind, it's got to be Catwoman. It's Catwoman who lost her abilities, I guess, because it looks like Selina, short, black hair. She got the same body type as Selina. She's wearing purple like Selina would typically wear. What do you call it? She's got a cat with her, a black cat nonetheless. It's like, dude, this looks like it would be Selina, right? But apparently it's not Selina, because she just gets, freaks out and all that. And Mr. Teeth is trying to kill this person, and Batman shows up and knocks out some of his teeth. There's like, if there's 40 words in this entire short story, I'm surprised. The art wasn't great. I think the art was done. I believe that the artist and the art style must have been chosen because a lot of Tamaki's story seems to feature this kind of art. I don't know if Riley Rosmo is the typical artist for Mariko. I'm sure that whatever else Mariko writes is fantastic. I think that Mariko writes children's stories and stuff like that, or teen stories, something like that. Maybe some of the graphic novels or whatever. I don't know. But I can't remember too many comic books. I don't think I know any comic books by Mariko that I actually like. Realistically, every single time that I look at a Mariko, this is going to be really insulting. At the same time, it is what it is. Mariko got this job, so hey, congratulations. Seriously, congratulations. That's genuine. But I look at this and I'm just like, okay, seeing that somebody like Mariko Tamaki can get a writing job as a comic book writer, I'm like, dude, I can absolutely nail a job writing comic books. I guarantee I could. Because I promise you, my stories are better than this. But at least for comic books. For comic books, this doesn't work. For another story, I'm sure this would be great. But again, I was put off just by the idea that Batman says at one point, Mr. Teeth, I presume. He's met Mr. Teeth before. So why would this be an issue? Whatever. The entirety of this story, I actually wish it wasn't even in the book, for me at least. Gunsmith, it's not American Flag. Duh, I know better than that. Anyway, it looks like him though. So Gunsmith, another one of what's his name? James Chaney IV's stuff, his characters. Afraid of America. Dan Waters is the writer. John Paul Leon is the artist. Deron Bennett on letters. Okay, this is going to be... Listen, usually I don't see the nonsense on YouTube or Twitter or anything like that where people just make up fake controversies and things like that. But sometimes I can look at a comic book, and since I'm an independent, I have some conservative beliefs, but I also have some liberal beliefs. I have, many progressive beliefs. I'm kind of all over the place because I don't have group think. I think for myself. But knowing, people, and in general, I know that maybe there's no controversy about this at all, but I can also imagine a bunch of people flipping out over this, saying, oh, they're just making Gunsmith into a freaking, conservative villain. Oh, gee, imagine that, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, I could see the argument there. At the same time, while I don't know I don't know anything about Dan Waters personally, but I will say it does seem like Dan is a liberal who this is his interpretation of what a conservative villain would do. And it's easy for somebody with that sort of a mindset to just imagine an ultra conservative as being a villain. That's cool. But I don't see Gunsmith as being a straight up, conservative villain or anything like that in here. I simply don't. I don't see it that way. Yes, I can see that there is a definite attachment, but for the love of God, you're going to have liberal villains, you're going to have conservative villains, so however you're going to look at this, it is what it is. I actually enjoyed this story a lot, exceedingly. It started off with like really bad English. It's probably the letterer, maybe blame Daron Bennett for that. I don't know. But it started off with something just really weird. That I'm just like, there's supposed to be a plural in there somewhere. There are two things in there. One of them should have been plural. And I was really upset that I'm just like, and it almost put me off the book. You don't do that right in the beginning of a freaking story. Anyway, so this was basically Gunsmith trying to find the trigger for Batman. I dug on that. Plus, he took the idea that he can make anything into a gun. He took it to another level. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what James Tynion, the creator of this character, has in store for Gunsmith, but if Dan Waters wanted to make more Gunsmith stories going up against Batman or whatever, making him like the villain of a particular story arc, oh, hells yes. Yes, because this was a really good story. I dug on, he's not just he felt like a dumb villain when Tynion made him. He felt like he was going to be a throwaway character that every so often he's going to show up and get punched in the face and then Batman's going to win the day, right? Like a minor villain. No, I see potential for him to be a major villain. So, I definitely want to see more of Waters writing for the Gunsmith. And as far as the story itself is concerned, since it featured children the way that it did, and that this was an actual lesson about gun safety and gun preparedness, being prepared for actually using a gun and what a gun actually means, believing in the Second Amendment, believing that people should have the right to have guns, not to the excess that some people say it, but I do believe that people should have the right to have guns. I wasn't offended by this story in the slightest, and I could see some kids who don't have proper training on guns being, tricked into using. I liked this story a lot. I liked the message in it. I was down with this. This was really good story. This story, in my opinion, puts Dan Waters on my list of people to start looking out for. I know I've read some of his stuff before. It's like, for me, it's like almost superficial, top of my head. But I see this story, I'm like, damn, this was a really good story. Can Waters do more stories like this, specifically with the Gunsmith? If so, if I'm Tynion, I'm like, dude, take my creation. There you go. I'd even give him co-creator status for this, because he's really amplifying what the Gunsmith could be, what his true potential could be. I loved that story. Wow, that was good. That's the way that you make a villain. Damn. What I feel was supposed to be a throwaway villain, this brings him up to, he's higher than Calendar Man at this point. This is good. I would say this guy could actually be put up there. Not quite in the Penguin class, but like around that Penguin class, like at the very, he's the guy that Black Mask would hire to go and do some stuff, but at the same time he can still operate on his own. I can't get over how much I really loved this story. This was really good. Great way to make an almost throwaway villain into somebody where you can see the potential of this guy running a storyline. Definitely digging on that. The last story in here was Fool's Gold. James Tynion IV is the writer. Sumit Kumar is on art. FCO Plasencia on colors. Carlos M. Manigold on letters. Now for everything, Guillem March and Tomio More did the cover. And Batman was, of course, created by Bill Finger. This is the Tynion story that is supposed to be, it features Deathstroke, but it also has the Penguin, also has the Joker in it, also has Punchline in it. And, Punchline's going to need to get herself in check, because her thinking that she's going to take out Deathstroke, I like that. I look forward to seeing her getting some teeth rearranged, because no, that's not going to happen. Really, almost typical way of taking down Deathstroke in this. It is what it is. I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, I just looked at it like, meh, you know? But this is that Joker War prelude story that lets you know what the Joker War is going to be about, or at least what a good chunk of it is going to be about. I'm not here to spoil that. I'm here to tell you to go out and buy this book, because learning what the Joker War is going to be about is sweet. In the end of this book, you also see they're going to be selling 4 different masks. I don't know if these are going to be actual latex masks or just cardboard cutout type masks, but they're going to be masks featuring the Joker through the ages. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not going to complain about that at all. Shoot, I might even consider getting the one where, he cuts off his face in the New 52, the Death of the Family storyline. I might consider getting that one because that looked pretty cool. There's also the Bruce Timm one where every time I look at that, I'm just like, that's Mark Hamill. There's and there's 2 other versions too, whatever. This was a good book. I enjoyed this book. A whole bunch of really good stories in here. I love the idea that we got to learn a good setup for what's going to start in Batman number 94 with the Joker War. I got to go back into it again, though, just really quick. I have got to give Dan Waters serious kudos on that story. What he did with Gunsmith, man, that was badass. Anyway, I'm out. Definitely consider grabbing this book. Definitely consider hitting like if you liked this video. If you didn't, fine, throw a dislike. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. What would you like different? What else you got for me? And for the love of God, please, the only way that you're, I'm saying please, I said please, the only way that your favorite YouTubers get paid is by allowing one of one of the ads to play, either beginning or at the end. Sometimes if we throw up one in the middle, if there's an ad, please let the ad run. That's the only way that we get paid. The only way, unless you're going to join a Patreon or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So just please consider it. That's all. And I'm out. Enjoy your day. Watch some of these videos over here, but watch them in another video, in another screen in case an ad plays. And I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.